Hey everybody, and we are back. And we are not only back, but we are back into it. It's already game one, and it's Apollo versus Tacklet, and this, the grand final, looks like it's going to be a Warrior versus Paladin to kick us off.
I am very excited for this. Warrior, Paladin, again, just two of these classes I absolutely love, and built so uniquely, so differently, you know, than some of your typical Paladin lists. We haven't really seen Apollo's Warrior much. We've seen a lot of Tacklet's Paladin from last, so interesting to see how these two guys are going to react to each other, because we know Apollo loves his survivability, and Tacklet, well, Tacklet wants to kill things as fast as possible. Could not have two more opposite players in the finals here, so the synergy, or this matchup is going to be very interesting, to say the least.
And we already see that hand buff in hand in the flying machine, one of those things that just loves getting hand buffed.
Yeah, peanut butter and jelly right there.
And with the possibility of a Hand of a Doll follow-up in the future turns, this flying machine is going to have to be handled. It's going to be handled pretty decisively, because, you know, Hand of a Doll is going to add health, and any magnetic effects are going to add health. Blessing of Kings is going to add health. The Grime Street Outfitter is going to add health.
Do you want a Grime Street Outfitter? I mean, Grime Street Outfittering the flying machine is great, but is Grime Street Outfittering the Shotbot worth it? Because the problem here with the Smuggler's Run on this particular hand is it's mostly spells.
It is definitely not necessarily the ratio that you want, but
right.
I think
I mean, just like the flying machine. Oh, and the execute though, it's gonna be a heartbreaker.
Yeah, another Spite Historian also going to allow additional dragons to come in. Twin Tyrant, Volcanic Drake, and Ebon Dragonsmith. You're not a common. What are you doing here?
Hey, yeah, shoot. Yes. Go on. Yeah, can't you see we don't want you anymore?
And actually, I would say that either the Twin Tyrant or the Volcanic Drake are probably going to be the choices. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Volcanic Drake was not expecting, actually. But maybe they just assume that Twin Tyrant is just not going to be, you know, relevant enough to get on the board fast enough.
That's true. If the game goes on that long, chances are mechs have gotten out of control where 4 damage is just insufficient to get.
Now the question is, do you hit the flying machine now, or do you wait till you can Hand of a Doll it immediately? Oh, it looks like Hand of a Dolling the Grim Street Outfitter. An interesting choice. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I spoke too soon.
I mean, it is going to allow a value trade into this Nether Spite Historian, and it also trades very well into the Fairy Dragon. So even though, interesting, a coin Shotbot as well.
I like the Shotbot. I like coin Shotbot. Just because the Fairy Dragon cannot do anything about it currently. And maybe he's just trying to bait out the execute, because he's got to figure that Warrior's probably running execute.
Yeah, especially like you were saying, Apollo's list quite a bit more defensive than other lists we've seen. So
oh, and that Deathwing. Oh, it's got to be so tempting. Do you want the Deathwing?
I mean, I guess if you're playing a control warrior, you can take the Hungry Dragon, just since you'll be able to remove. You'll probably be able to remove whatever comes up.
Yeah, true.
Gobbo Glide Tech going to be the draw, and so now we have the possibility of Gobbo Glide to help just really lock this board down in favor of Tacklet and just try to clear the way for this flying machine. You mentioned Execute in hand already, off a Discovery effect, but Apollo's going to have to be able to deal damage to the flying machine to clear it. So if you can just make sure that there's nothing else on the board. There's also the possibility of going for a really just, you know, you have 4 mana, Blessing of Kings is 4, and it allows you to go ahead and use that for attack this turn. Yes, a couple of choices.
Yeah, I mean, throwing an 8/8 on the shop, making the Shotbot an 8/8 is not a terrible play either. But it looks like the Gobbo Glide might be coming out here. Yes, I like that play. And again, just having a beefy board here means he might have to use that execute a little awkwardly, waiting for, you know, a bigger threat instead of using it instead of a bigger threat that he'd like to.
Yeah, and we're seeing what almost looks like a zoo sort of board control strategy out of Tackle. Just being able to, oh my gosh, that was a huge
And
roll.
the Ghoul, yeah, the Ravaging Ghoul is great here. Oh, Ziliax!
Wow,
that is a very strong card.
That's a card that he would absolutely 100% run in this list if he was allowed.
I'm not playing it, and I would feel better if I had one in my hand. I'm not even playing right now.
Right, if I had a Ziliax sort of behind me right now, I would feel a lot safer.
Pretty good, you know, you got your Lifesteal, you got your Rush, you got some Divine Shield, you know, you're at least gonna gain 6 life off this thing.
And the possibility of it, if it manages to hit the board and stay, all of a sudden it can hit
that's a lot
with that Scalebane.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is the Apollo. He's running Bolster in this deck, right? Am I mistaken on that, or was it the last?
Apollo he's not running the Rampages.
No, he is not. I'm looking at it right.
I believe that is Tacklets. Does Tacklets list have
or-
Rampage? Yeah.
Yes, it is Tacklets. Being the more aggressive play, of course. Now, still not baiting out the... still hasn't baited out the execute. Maybe you just drop the one flying machine, and then you just see if he executes it there.
There's also a Mech Warper War Gear possibility this turn. If you wanted to make you can either make a big Mech Warper or buff up your shot cost.
True. I would think that he'd maybe be,
Oh, double flying machine, also an option, actually, with the double discount. Being able to double dip on double discounts.
I love that.
And actually,
Because
no matter
that
what
means-
survives, between Blessing of Kings and War Gear.
Yeah, this is a fellow who knows this deck, which is really another thing about this format is most people have not been practicing these decks for a long time. So being able to know your decks on this kind of level is very, very smart. Oh man, and he's going to be able to get 10 damage just off this thing right now.
He's going to be able to get, I mean, yeah, he's spoiled for choice, is Tacklet. I mean, do you want to put +5/+5 on your
Or +4/+4 on your flying machine.
Yeah.
Yep, you crush it for one, and then you go in there. Yep. That's awesome. You'll love to see that.
And so now Apollo needs to find a defensive option. Even the mighty Ziliax, Restless Mummy will do it. Restless Mummy will at least take the flying machine off the board. And
yeah, thank God for that. But still, I mean, you know, then you're gonna have nothing on the board here.
right,
Well, I guess the quartermaster. Oh, but having the Cobalt Lackey to go off the Restless Mummy,
that's
right there
so
also plays it.
That allows,
So you can then clear the Mech Warper too.
Yeah, yes. Being able to take every single mech off the board when they're trying to do mech paladin stuff is of vital importance.
Very, very good. Getting a Cogmaster, not quite ideal right now without a mech already on board, and you don't really want to use the War Gear yet, because again, as we discussed, it's better when it's stapled to stuff.
Yeah, and man, the Tacklet just all of a sudden, I mean, the Kobold Lackey, and granted it could have been a Goblin Lackey, but those two lackeys in particular were so important that turn for Apollo because on 8 mana he was going to be able to both War Gear and Blessing of Kings, and that was just
would have been. Would that have been game? I think it would have been.
It would have been
if the flying machine stuck.
Yeah, well, the flying machine was
6, it would have been 15. Yeah, it would have been. That would have been game.
Well, the flying machine was not surviving no matter what.
Probably not. Right? Like, I mean, Apollo is a good Hearthstone player, and he knows to respect it.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, he made it all the way to the finals in a metagame that's never been explored before.
Which is very, very, and he did this very cleverly as well.
Yeah, and so now Ziliax going to come down,
he's
clear
gonna
the board,
clear
and
that 5/3, and bring that health total back up a little bit.
Provide vital healing. Actually, with the preemptive, well played,
Apollo.
Apollo.
That's so mean. You don't even know. You're about to look down the barrel of a 6/10. Don't preemptively well played him.
And
I mean, I would agree that both these players are playing well, but
that's right. Maybe I was reading that too harsh. Maybe it was just a genuine well played.
Two Morden. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. Yeah, maybe it's a sign of respect. It's not always a dunk.
That's right. It probably was, and also just an acknowledgement of how good Ziliax is.
Right, and Ziliax is very good. We love Ziliax.
This
is 7/10. Yeah, and he's already used one execute, so we know there's an execute in the deck. He's just not going to be able to pull it this turn. Yeah. Ooh, but that Scale Bane coming down with 3 taunts online, that is spooky.
And oh my gosh, and yeah, Tacklet sees the writing on the wall. He's going to go ahead and decide.
Already clears it. All right, well, Apollo is up 1 with the Warrior.
Yeah, and man, that Paladin got off to a pretty brisk start, but
I know, I was surprised. Just that Warrior just really came back.
And yeah, and Warrior was not able to find a lot of its sort of in its deck control tools, but able to use some of those discovery mechanics to just really find other ways to stabilize in that particular matchup.
Yeah, I'm learning. I've been kind of ruminating on this all tournament. Is like, how good are those RNG effects? And as it turns out, if they're small, right? Like a 2/2 taunt is not bad. That discovers a taunt. Like you already kind of want the 2/2 with taunt. So being able to find more taunt stuff with an efficient play attached to it, or at least an okay play attached to it, is pretty good. And here,
Warrior versus Warrior going to be the matchup. And
Warrior versus Warlock.
I'm sorry, Warrior versus Warlock. You're absolutely right. They both begin with WA, and so of course that was all my reptilian brain read. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, those are tough differences right there, my friends.
And so, yeah, Apollo not interested in queuing up his warrior a second time, so just going to go ahead and pull out his his slower mid-rangey warlock, the one that, if you'll remember from earlier rounds, this is the one that features cards like Abyssal Enforcer, Bone Mare at the top end, Dread Infernals, the Aranasi Brood Mother, the
which
heal on draw.
Love. You hate to see it in the opening hand, of course, but I really, really love that card in this deck. I mean, again, just saying, hey, I'm going to put as much healing stuff in, so, the second Aranasi Brood Mother, that hurts. You didn't even have the chance to slap down the Librarian yet. But
Right.
still, putting out the heal bot right there, 8 health. It's just saying, like, hey, I can tap as much as I want without really you worrying about it, or without worrying about it so much.
Right, and so now a very high-valued Roar going to come out for Tacklet with finding a Cro-Magus and a Nefarian. In terms of dust value, that's 3,200 dust.
That's a lot of dust. That's probably more dust than both, and then every deck that they're each playing combined.
Right. Look at this little guy, the Og Merchant, the Guardian Og Merchant, seeing some play here in our tournament, which is it's a one mana 2/1 with Battle Cry, deal 1 damage and give a creature Divine Shield. What you can use it though, especially when you're playing against something like a zoo, is you can use it to
just
remove
deal
1
1
health.
damage.
Yeah, that's right. Just sneak past taunts and go ahead and kill Cobalt Librarians and stuff.
Yeah, I think again, we've said it time and time again, but this Pauper format in a fresh meta is it's a great place to experiment and see what's going to work. Cards that like Guardian Og Merchant that didn't really have any effect in other formats like Standard or Wild has a potential chance to shine here. I don't know if it actually does or not, but you know, it's worth trying. It's a sneaky tech play, and especially Apollo is probably not going to be playing around it.
And well, I guess until he goes in and just takes a look at what all is in the. But yeah, you're not going to play around something like that. Like that's not like you're saying that you know.
No way, you're just not trained for it. Now, spell breaking, anything that has keyword soup, anything that has more than 1 keyword, that's a really, really good spell breaker. A lot of good silence here.
And yeah, this 4-mana 4/3 is going to be able to, and it's also aggressively statted, right? So it's going to be able to hide behind this Tar Creeper and just potentially value trade into stuff or find different ways to maybe leverage that higher attack than life. But this Restless Mummy is just the cleanest clear.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's going to be worth it to Restless Mummy, and then after you clear at least the 4/3, do you evolve the Restless Mummy, or do you evolve the Bone Wraith, or do you evolve anything here on this board?
That is a good question. It looks like we're actually going to go ahead and see it get Divine Shield, so it's going to be somewhere in between. Going to go ahead and use that attack, develop a 2/1, and still have Reborn.
And I think I could see that saving the Witchy Lackey, because just even in Talcot's hand, there are a lot of minions that become less efficient the turn after they're played. Like you have the Rusty Raider that would love to be evolved, or Dry Whisker Armor that would like to be evolved. You know, these things do have an immediate impact on the board, but aren't so good once they're actually on the board.
And man, speaking of the possibility of gaining value through evolution, you know, the ability to hit one of the challenges of this format being played within the wild format is the number of possible evolutions are basically impossible to play around.
Oh yeah, no way. You could not imagine a 2/4. Yeah, all right, recruiter minion. That's not really what you're hoping for.
Yeah, that's definitely a creature you would rather activate the Battle Cry. And so now we're going to go ahead and see the rest of this Restless Mummy invested to try and grab board control.
Yeah, it's no Sludge Creeper or anything like that.
Oh man, the even bigger brother to both Tar and. Oh wait, what's the Warlock one called?
That is
Tar Lurker.
Tar Lurker and Pit Lord. No, Sludge Creeper, if I'm not mistaken, is the Naxxramas, or even maybe before Naxxramas.
Are you talking about the Sludge Belcher? The 3/5?
Sludge Belcher.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Belcher. The 3/5 that when he kills it makes another taunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
But could possibly, as a 5-drop, could come out from that evolve.
That's right. And so now we're going to see Rusty Raider lines up so well. We've talked several times about how 5 health is can be difficult for some cards to play around, but Rusty Raider is a 5-mana answer to 5 life. It's too bad you have to pay 5 mana to deal with, 3 mana worth of stuff. But then again,
it also has taunt, and it's at the very least a 1/8 after that, or even in this case a 1/5, which is not awful.
And you can have the possibility, we find the other evil quartermaster finds some possibility of an evolution effect, and then of course I believe Tacklet is the one who is playing both copies of Rampage. So anytime, even though it may not look threatening right now, a single copy of Rampage can turn it much.
Oh yeah. Ooh, Gurubashi Offering is interesting, and he's gonna take that.
The Gurubashi Offering is a 1-mana 0/2 that at the start of your turn destroy this and gain 8 armor.
Now the question, of course, is he going to be able to stick on the board? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure it's going to stick on the board. But if it does, that's going to be a huge swing for Apollo, especially, again, Tacklet really, really wants to be doing some more damage here.
And it's one of those that even if it just draws an attack, you know, maybe it absorbs. At the very worst, it's 1-mana heal 2, and which is not great. But the ability to potentially heal for 8, especially, you know, finding more of these big taunts. We talked about the Aranasi Broodmothers drawn early. Lurkers and stuff. Maybe you can hide it behind enough of a wall.
Are we getting the Chromagus?
I
feel the temptation. If I was him, I would want to drop that Chromagus so bad. If I get to drop the Chromagus, that's a win for me. That's just the kind of player I am. And he does. He drops the Chromagus. We get some dragons on the board, and also going to be probably get some use out of it, just because like it's behind a 1/5, and he only has a 1/7 and a 2/1, and only 3 damage here.
Yeah, and now he's going to have the possibility of getting a ton of value if he wants to off this Chromagus between Acolyte of Pain, Battle Rage, and Warpath, potentially drawing a bucket of cards and duplicating all of them.
Oh, a shield block!
Double shield block.
Whoa, that's a wild play. That is a wild, wild play with Chromagus.
Gosh, and so now, kind of spoiled for choice is Tacklet. I mean, he's going to have a card economy problem in that he will have far too many cards if he goes maximum cards.
Which we don't see that often, particularly in this format. And that's going to be 2 Temple Berserkers, which has not done a lot of work. We're seeing a lot of play this particular tournament, but having a lot of them could be good.
And they're always threatening. You talked about the presence of Rampage in Tacklet's list, and that Temple Berserker is one of the scariest things. You know, you mentioned that Rampage triggers off Reborn. Wow!
Wow! So, the real problem is now not being able to deal with this Gurubashi Offering. 8 armor is going to be a lot of armor for him.
Yeah, although at this point, Tacklet has so much value. I wonder if he definitely would prefer to remove this offering if it was at all possible. But I mean, if Apollo still can't remove this Chromagus,
he's gonna have to get rid of the Abyssal Enforcer. Just to. But man, oh man, the Chromagus is already in so much work. And the problem, he's also about to slap down a Nefarian next turn if he wants to.
Oh yeah.
Silencing it is good too. Silencing it is good too. But that's still a 6/5.
And so actually opening up the possibility of a value trade and then a heal. Oh, he's actually going to heal his Tar Lurker to just really build this offense behind the wall of that the Tar Lurker has generated.
That seems smart to allow to just build the board and maybe heal up with some of these heal bots or the Ring Farseers or anything like that.
Yeah, he's actually sitting pretty nicely on life, right? With that eight armor actually triggering means he's got so much more to play with.
Yeah, it's almost a third of your life. I mean, that's a lot. 8 armor is a lot of armor. The problem with that card is, again, it's just removed so easily, but in formats like this, when you don't have that removal quite as ready, or it's not as big a priority as, say, Warpath, you know, as drawing 4 cards off of your Chromagus. But do we see the Warpath here?
I mean, it looks like since he's hovering this Eternium Rover, that would mean that he would only get 4 Whirlwinds, so he'd have to use his Chromagus attack as well.
Yeah, but I don't know that. Oh, interesting though. I don't.
So he's going to go for maximum armor gain, it looks like, this turn.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to Whirlwind 4 times and then attack with his Chromagus.
I mean, that still seems like a good play, and you know, Lord knows he needs that armor for the long game, but
sitting at almost 50 armor.
Yeah. That 50 armor, that's a lot of. Yeah, no, you're right. Over 50 armor.
Over 50, yeah. I undershot it with my 50 guess.
And yeah, being able to take out your Chromagus with a 1/1 is not a good feeling. But the Broodmage is still a 4/6 with taunt. It's still a beefy lady, and I think that Nefarian is primed and ready to come down right now.
Yeah, so this is another one where the wild. Us playing in wild means that power overwhelming and Kara Kazan. So for those, power overwhelming has been ending games. Was ending so many games that it finally got retired to the Hall of Fame.
Nope, not here, baby, not here.
All right, Abyssal.
Oh man, and Kara Kazan is not a terrible card to get either. That's a 6/6 on stats of a 5 cost.
Right, spread across the 3 bodies, and that's one of those things that you can combo with a Battle Rage later on to just draw a bucket of cards, potentially.
Yeah, exactly.
So right
Which,
now,
I mean, not that Talcott needs a bucket of cards. He already has quite a pail in his hand.
right, it's just sitting on a solid cask of cards. And you're talking about just how efficient the Void Caller is. You know, able to take a value trade there and also get a 4/6 taunt on board as part of its death rattle.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
And
now we're running into the one problem though. Without those Nefarians and the Chromagases, Talcott has a huge hand, but not a whole lot to do with it.
yeah, he might just be thinking about like how efficiently can he just unload onto this board. You know, the board staring across at him is pretty threatening. You know, 6/6.
Yeah.
He's
and his
down
board is
16 life.
his hand is decisively not threatening, so he has to play this very efficiently, or else that hand advantage he has will be gone.
Right.
Because he probably could blow his whole hand and clear this board, but that's not what's going to get you the win here.
Yeah, and actually, like you're saying, he just doesn't have a whole lot of proactive stuff. The rush minion is definitely proactive, but the evil quartermaster can maybe find you some ways to try to remember. But the 6/6 in particular, the 6/6 is such a sticking point.
Well, this might be where the Berserkers come into play.
Yeah, if he's able to rampage one of those, or potentially just use the enrage mechanic in order to deal more damage than the mana would lead you to believe.
That's a good Hellfire call.
Interesting. Yeah, Hellfire available.
I'm curious if I mean, I don't know that you want to play it now, but it's good. It's going to be good for later. Just looking at Talcott's hand, that Hellfire is going to be really, really. That's going to hurt later. I can feel it.
Right, and Kara Kazam is just particularly vulnerable to.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, those pots and pans really just hate Hellfire.
Right. Which you know, I guess I understand where they're coming from, but come on.
I'm not huge on Hellfire either, if I'm being honest. Hot take here.
Restless Mummy the draw, which is going to allow.
It looks like he'll be able to clear the Brood Mother with it if he wants to, but.
I wonder if because he moused over Power Overwhelming, he can actually combo his Restless Mummy with Power Overwhelming.
Oh, that's a really good point.
2 attacks with it, but he still is kind of stuck with this Enforcer, or the Abyssal Enforcer.
Oh yeah, that's the real problem right now. I'm curious. While I'm casting, I'm also trying to be like, okay, can he? Oh,
actually, this is a combo.
The Rampage, yeah.
So with the. Oh my gosh, and that's actually going to allow the Temple Berserker to come back. So the Temple Berserker will die at the end of the turn, but it'll come back as a 3/1.
Yep.
And potentially Rampage.
Are you not gonna... Yeah. Okay. And then you just drop the other... I mean, just the Rampage just has so much synergy on these Reborn minions. We talked about it earlier, but we never actually got to see it happen.
Yeah, and so Tacklet's guy's going to explode, come back injured, and if Apollo leaves up, if Apollo doesn't respect, that's a Bone Mare.
That's Bone Mare.
Everything I was saying kind of became irrelevant because that's a Bone Mare.
That's a Bone Mare.
Oh man, and actually that's a huge draw right now. The Dread Infernal coming off the top is going to allow a Whirlwind effect to just go ahead and clear these.
Those Reborn effects mean nothing. Your puny Reborn means nothing to my Dread Infernal. Ooh, okay, the Dragon's Roar here is going to be vital to see what he gets off of it.
And actually he's going to go ahead and play the Dragon's Roar if he's to...
And getting another Nefarian! And Nostorm. I really want to see Nostorm replay this saga.
Just a one-time... I think he was probably hoping for something more along the lines of like a Twin Tyrant, something like that. I would assume that's why he went first.
Probably be much better.
Oh man, Karakazam going to hit the board as well as a Tar Creeper.
Sarah... And that's right for a Hellfire right there. That's a Hellfire. Well, I don't know if it is actually, because you would get rid of.
Yeah, you could value trade in one of your 3/2s and then Hellfire if you wanted to, but it looks like it's just going to be a Bone Mare turn this turn.
Yeah, it's a Bone Mare turn. That's a Bone Mare.
And wow, finally managing to cut through the 20+ armor that Tacklet had.
Yeah, that was insane.
Right. Rampage kind of stranded in hand right now, though it does combo very well with that Guardian Og Merchant, another way to activate, sort of an internal combo to this deck.
Yeah, that's very true.
And that's one of the few ways that he's going to be able to just from hand enable his teapot.
Just Nefarianing and nope. 2 damage to. Where do you put it? That was the problem.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I guess you could. Yeah, I guess you could. Cobalt Lackey and then use the Og Merchant to hit the Dread Infernal and kill it, but you're still looking down the barrel of this antique Hillbot.
And It's just I'm just mousing over the tokens real quick to see what their mana costs are, and the
Yeah.
Teapot is a 3-cost card. So
Oh, great. So evolving, it's not too bad. Oh, but we're rampaging. To get rid of that, that's a good. Oh, wait, wow, this is a much better play line.
just gonna go ahead and clear
Wow! I didn't
everything
see
but
that
Bone Mare.
at all. That was great.
Oh my gosh, I was about to say
a
the
top
only thing.
deck Bone Mare!
Although,
Wow.
is that even enough? I mean, obviously,
I don't
Bone Mare's
know.
very
I don't
powerful.
know. With the Nefarian though, it's yeah, the Hellfire right there is good. That's a very good Hellfire.
He's gonna go ahead and heal himself. Actually, it looks like this turn.
Interesting.
Yeah. Probably worth it just to have a 3/3 on the board and to increase the chances that he'll be able to Bone Mare something next turn.
Yeah, true. Plus, I figure you got to figure that like the 6/2 is more valuable at this point than the 5/2.
Right, and so if he's going to make the Tacklet probably would prefer not to attack into either of these. Oh yeah, the impressive coming out second Nefarian.
Well, those
these
are not
good.
Great. Those are not good. I mean, you still have an 8/8 on the board, which is a force to be reckoned with.
True. I wonder.
But yeah, you got to clear that just on the.
Is he gonna evolve?
Oh,
Nefarian?
evolving Nefarian. That's fun.
Okay, so 9-cost cards, and it's still an 8/8.
Just a hell 8/8, yeah. I'm curious if saving that for Nosdormu might have been like what you want to do with this Nosdormu, because it's going to come out at some point, I think, just by virtue of it being just a monstrous threat.
Yeah. Looks like the Void Collar is going to come down, and Apollo just trying to put enough threat.
Oh!
That's a rampage. And so now maybe a
Yeah.
Dry Whisker Armorer turn to just try to make it a race.
Yeah, I'm curious. Curious if he's going to respect that the Dread Infernal or not, because obviously he doesn't know that there's a Bone Mare awaiting for him. But a Bone Mare Dread Infernal becomes a lot nastier than just the Dread Infernal by himself.
Right. And I wonder, I mean, if you're Tacklet, can you... There comes a point where... Can you afford to play around the second copy? I'm just going to do a mouse over on Apollo's...
Oh, and it looks like, yes, he
There's
is
only
going
3.
to, yeah.
Yeah. So...
3 cards at deck, yeah, I mean, Warrior's going to have a lot easier time going to deck out than Warlock does, for sure.
And Hellfire the draw. This 11-4 is, of course, going to draw quite a bit of the attention of Apollo.
Yeah.
Second Hellfire
Yep,
committed.
gonna use the Hellfire to clear it, but still. And Death Spite is a good top deck here.
Here it is!
Push that last little bit. The
Nosdormu
Nosdormu! And, oh man.
Drain Soul is insufficient.
You're gonna use Bone Mare here. Well, the interesting thing is that while Tacklet does have a bigger hand, most of these cards are not good. In fact, I would wager that, yeah, most of these cards, not good.
I mean,
Death Spite is great here, of course, but you don't want to draw cards with Battle Rage or Acolyte, and you have no demons right now.
Those two cards off of that he got off of Nefarian are really bad. So it's oh man,
oh,
you can't
he doesn't want to play the
Mortal
Mortal Coil. Cannot play the Mortal Coil, but so he'll just use Drain Soul to go ahead and clear that out. I don't know what these last 3 cards are, but certainly 3 cards is more than 0 cards.
Temple Berserker. That's right. Even though he's played 2 Temple Berserkers this game, one of them was a Chromacus duplicate.
Yeah, right.
And so that leaves him with...
That's a good one. And, well, I think what you want to do probably is once you clear this Bone Mare, you have to assume that it's going to be tough for...
You know what one of his last cards is? You know what one of Tacklet's very last cards is?
What is
Burly Shovel Fist.
The Shovel Fist! Yeah, that's a tough one to get around for sure. Playing the Acolyte of Pain, just as the, just to kind of rub his nose in it.
Yeah, he might just need the 1 attack. And actually, we're going to see Apollo force the draw. There's okay, his other card is a Warpath.
Is that going to be... But now he's out of cards.
Yeah, Burly Shovel Fist as a tempo.
The Shovel Fist is probably going to close it out, but without that, this would be a lot closer.
And yeah, so now all of a sudden, that's going to do it. Wow, what a game. Going to Fatigue.
My gosh, that was quite a game.
Warrior
Fatigue,
taking the win over the
50
Warlock.
armor. I mean, that's not a thing you see every day for Warlocks. Very, very, very normal for a Warrior to do those things.
So, remind me who won the first game, because I think I might have made yet another production mistake. Apologies if I did. What's the current match score?
I believe the current match score is... well, let me see.
Is it 0-2 or is it 1-1?
I believe. Let me. Sorry. Let me.
We're jumping back in.
It doesn't matter. Well, we'll check. We'll check later. All right. I'm sorry. Hand Paladin 1.
Hand Paladin 1. Okay, so it's.
No, wait. Hang on. Sorry. I have the. My brackets are not pulled up, but we'll check it out after this. We got casting to do. We're seeing a Priest Warlock matchup, baby, and I am so excited.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and see that Warlock. Gonna go ahead and play the Warlock one more time and see how it does against the. I mean, the combo Priest. We saw both some of its weakness and some of its strength over Tacklet series against Felzak. You know, not able to just like find ways to clear the board and eventually win the game through you know, creative use of Discover mechanics, and then of course just big health buffs in conjunction with stuff like Topsy Turvy, Inner Fire, and of course the Divine Spirit.
And yeah, it looks like the same Warlock. I think it's going to be a better matchup, though, just because this Priest is trying to stay as low to the ground as possible, whereas Apollo is, you know, he's very, very good at staving off some stuff. However, you know, when you're matched up against a Warlock that has 50 armor, it's hard to outlast that with a Warlock. Just your hero is not built to do that in a lot of ways.
And just taking a look at the starts that both of these players are going to be able to find, we're going to see a very early Acolyte of Pain come out. You know, Tacklet well aware that this particular Warlock, you know, it doesn't have a lot of high tempo in the early game, right? So the Drained Souls, Mortal Coils, the Kobold Librarians, that's pretty much the early game stuff. And so he's probably going to be able to get a couple of draws, or potentially really make this Acolyte of Pain very dangerous using stuff like Cabal Talon Priest.
Yeah, and the thing about this mid-range Warlock is it's going to give Tacklet some time to find some of these combo pieces, time that he hasn't had in previous matchups with this Priest.
And so it looks like he's thinking about the possibility of Radiant Elemental, and then I would assume if he's going to do that, then he
probably just renewing to search. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can also play the Divine Spirit this turn if he wants to.
Interesting. Yeah.
And just go ahead and get an additional card draw. Attack and then renew. So he's gonna just have all of his cake, draw more cake, and then eat the original cake.
Oh, Valence Chosen. Valence Chosen. That's a cool card. That's a cool find here, but only using one renew. It's interesting to me to use your Divine Spirit, which is a combo part, you know. So if you're a combo priest, it seems to me that you want to assemble your Voltron of comboing as much as you can, especially, you know, right now that you found Inner Fire, right? Like,
wow. I mean,
he could very easily just Valence Chosen Inner Fire to make the beefiest Acolyte of Pain, knowing full well that this Warlock does not have a lot of spot removal, if any. It has some damage, but that's not going to be enough to deal with the 10-10.
Right, and this is where we might see one of those tech choices that Apollo made in this particular control Warlock. The double Spellbreaker would, of course, be pretty huge if Apollo's able to find it. But
yeah. I mean, the silence effects you cannot underestimate those, particularly in a new format.
Yeah, and just being able to bring this, and actually we see Tacklet sort of thinking about his options right now, because if he overcommits to this Acolyte of Pain, you mentioned that, you know, he's already committed a Divine Spirit, part of his combo, to this Acolyte of Pain. If he decides to commit a Valence Chosen, he's really just playing very strongly into the possibility of getting silenced right out of this game. Pint-Sized Potion, Thoughtsteal, and Dark Prophecy, the options. Gosh, you know, Dark Prophecy is kind of interesting just because it's also playing. I mean, Thoughtsteal is probably the more responsible choice, but having a higher health than you're supposed to 2-drop could potentially be strong.
Yeah, it's interesting to see him investing so much in this Acolyte of Pain.
And also choosing.
By the way, if you were wondering, Apollo did win the first matchup.
So Apollo did win the first matchup. Okay, my notes are wrong. I thought it was 1-1, but then I wrote something down wrong, and then I was very unsure of myself. All right, so Apollo 1.
That's a 1-1.
Okay. And coming in for Tacklet right now is now the possibility of spreading the love a little bit, you know, potentially throwing a Valence Chosen and Cabal Talon Priest on 2 different creatures.
Well, what's really interesting is when you have all these spells that target your minions, is which minions do you target with them? How do you spread the love? You know, what's the most efficient way? Do you build them all into one giant guy hoping, well, he doesn't get ripped? Or do you kind of make it 3 or 4 little or more medium-y guys? A schmedium guy?
Yeah, and it's really just what kind of removal that you think. There's quite a bit of removal in Apollo's list. Stuff you have to think about, you know, Mortal Coil, Drained Soul, Hellfire, and Spellbreaker kind of, as well as the big creatures.
And a lot he has in hand already.
Right, being able
But he doesn't have direct removal, so if you have so much health, those things kind of don't matter as much.
and the ability to, okay, so here comes the Balance Chosen. It looks like he has, his answer to your question is, let's make it the biggest Acolyte of Pain the world has ever seen.
I really, really think that that's a smart play here.
Gosh, going to be able to continue drawing and keep the health on this particular Acolyte very, very high. And actually has the option of using the attacks from his two leftover creatures to clear the Tar Creeper.
Yep, great play. And I think you want to clear, as spooky as it seems, I think you want to clear the Void Collar just because you don't want to hit the Abyssal Enforcer's effect.
Oh man, so we're gonna go ahead and taunt instead. I was wondering if this was the point where it's desperate enough to Kobold Librarian trying to hit that Spellbreaker. It wasn't a Spellbreaker, so. But
and this extra Drain Soul in hand actually is going to be quite useful in dealing with some of the things, especially with this Balance Chosen that's been placed on the Acolyte of Pain. 3 damage is a lot more than 2 damage, as it turns out.
That's right, and the lifesteal effect is going to trigger off of that as well. So actually healing his face for 3. This
pretty
Tar
good.
Creeper,
pretty good.
Yeah, this Tar Creeper is definitely awkward because Tacklet would love to not spend this 13 attack.
Yeah, he'd really like to send that in the facial direction. Yeah, he wants to send that downtown.
Yeah, look at all the taunt that Tacklet's been able to find that he can hide this 13-9 behind. So it's going to have to be some of those cards you were talking about earlier. It's got, I mean, Apollo's not going to be able to leverage his board presence to clear this 13-9.
Not as well as he wants to, certainly.
And this is going face. Take away that life tap as soon as possible and take away some of the big board removal options.
Yeah, I don't...
I mean, it seems
Curious leaving Void Collar up just because he knows the Abyssal Enforcer is the biggest demon in the deck, and that, again, skipping that thing's Battle Cry is really pretty good, saving yourself 9 damage on board.
And yeah, I guess choosing in this instance to try to put the life total under as much pressure as possible. We're gonna go ahead and Dark Peddler for Voidwalker, Witchwood, Imp, or Sinister Deal.
I think it's Sinister Deal, but Voidwalker is good too. It protects the can protect against this 13-13.
Zombie Chow.
Zombie Chow, yeah! I am surprised we didn't see any Zombie Chow. That was a staple control card back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, a 2-3 for 1 is just incredible early game value.
Abyssal Enforcer going to go ahead and hit the board, and that Voidwalker is really going to hamstring what appears to be possible. But like you said, that Drain Soul with the plus.
Yeah, the plus. I mean, that's really great. It's you know, it sounds very basic to say, yeah, 3 damage is good, but being able to deal 3 damage, as it turns out, is good.
Yeah, going to be able to take this out of the way and then send this 13 damage. I assume this 13 damage is... Well, actually, this is an interesting problem.
I don't know. I think you go... I think the 6/6 might be more useful here, but it's a tough call.
With the taunts.
But it is not ours to make. That is true. With the taunts, that's a less tough decision to make. Setting him to 7, turning off basically his Warlock hero power, turning off the Hellfires. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Not playing around these Bone Mares like he probably should be, but what are you gonna do?
Well, is Bone Mare even that big of a deal? Because it's gonna...
Well, making it 10-10, yeah, but no, probably not as much as it could have been.
Even the biggest possible Bone Mare. I mean, it is turn 8 and the Bone Mare is ready to go, but this.
Well, what I'm really looking at is the Bone Mare giving taunt. That seems to be the trickiest thing, right?
Oh, for sure. And actually, I wonder if we're gonna skip the 6/6 and actually taunt something smaller, just to try to make it so that the 6 attack can potentially do other stuff over the course of this game, because it dies so cleanly at even a 10 life.
But no, we're looking at the 10-8 Abyssal Enforcer.
Tar Creeper the draw.
Nothing huge to hit right now, unless you want to push that button and heal the Acolyte of Pain, or hit with the Acolyte of Pain first, I mean. And then you can draw and maybe see how you can deal with those things. Because you also have to deal with the Bone Mare. The Bone Mare himself is pretty tough.
Right, that's right. A 5/5 is not nothing. And the possibility... I'm trying to see if there's any way he can activate his Acolyte of Pain that's in his hand. Because if he hits... he is playing 2 copies of the Priest card Silence.
Oh yeah,
and
true.
that would immediately win
Being able
the game.
to find that, yeah, Silence is an interesting. It was not so. Well, it doesn't matter now.
Late. Yeah.
It's too late, but still pretty good.
And actually, if he sends this 3 attack from the Talon Priest to the face, then Hellfire becomes almost unplayable.
Hellfire is. In my mind, Hellfire is already unplayable.
Yeah.
Just looking at this board, the fact that Hellfire doesn't clear everything, I don't think you can take a chance in Hellfire here. Just because you don't know when Tacklet's more aggressive Priest build is going to come in and smack you for even 3 or 4 damage seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, and this value trade on the Talon Priest is really just respecting that 5/5 body you were talking about, the Bone Mare able to just cleanly kill this Tar Creeper, and then making sure that a Hellfire is not enough to kill the Acolyte of Pain.
Correct.
And so it's going to require so the 5/5 can attack, and then the 2 attack can go, and it's going to require both the Hellfire and the Mortal Coil. And then at that point,
or potentially or the Dread Infernal you could possibly get away with, but that's going to still be. Nope, never mind.
Oh, interesting. Actually, going to this way, you're able to set only set yourself to 4, but
and no, you can set yourself to 7. Actually, it looks like.
Oh, that's right, with the Earth and Ring Farseer providing some healing. Northshire Cleric the draw. So now Taklit is he's back to square one, but it's not really square one on account of Apollo's set all the way down to 7. But there's still so much healing. Aranasi Broodmothers, both of them still on the list. Antique Heal Bots, of course, available.
And even just looking at Apollo's hands, he's got the Dread Infernals, which are big threats that Taklit just doesn't really have the tools to deal with as much.
Right, Potion of Madness very good against more of a tempo or an aggressive list, but when they're throwing out big body 6/6s,
there's not a lot of targets that that is being run for the potion.
Actually, yeah, is it just Kobold Librarian and Dark Peddler?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah.
Acolyte of Pain going to be the play. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this thing get
big.
Yeah, maybe double this thing's health again. Although that's then you're out of combo pieces in terms of Divine Spirit Inner Fire.
And it's like, do you want to use that so soon?
Right.
I'm not certain. But that being said, the extra draw that hitting it with a Divine Spirit can afford seems pretty good.
And actually, with this Void Caller on the board, that 4 health. Oh, Aranasi Broodmother.
There it is. You'll love to see it. Plus the taunt too. I mean, that's essentially stapling 10 extra health onto your hero that I'm not certain Taklit has the tools to deal with. Certainly not right now, but I don't know about Taklit's whole deck.
Interesting. We're actually going to see the Void Caller taken off the board this turn.
Circle of Healing.
And doesn't have enough mana to play out the Aranasi Broodmother right now, but still, I mean, I already had that immediate.
Well, now it's also you also got to remember it's also a target for the Void Caller.
The Broodmother. Yeah, that's right. The Broodmother is a demon. That's right, and so it could potentially just be played for 0.
Right. So ripping into a demon, not so good.
And all right, so Northshire Cleric looking like it might be the play here. Taklit needs to draw some cards to get out of this game. He's sitting on 8 cards left in deck. And a lot of his combo activators are sort of marooned down there. Yep, stuff like Topsy Turvy. Both copies of Inner Fire are just lurking in the bottom 10, lurking in the bottom 7.
Just 1 copy, I think.
You're right. That's right. He spent an Inner Fire to make the gigantic.
Still, a lot of his. Interesting thing is a lot of his combo pieces were. Well, now he's going to just draw 3 or 4 cards here.
Oh yeah, he's going to draw all but 2 of the cards remaining in his deck. So he's all
old. I mean,
9
10
guaranteed.
Health. Oh my gosh. So
and Radiant Elemental means that he can potentially play out some cards this turn. But which one?
What's it gonna do? That's tricky. Plus he's facing the rope right now.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a Divine Spirit, potentially even an Inner Fire. Oh, gonna commit the silence to this Void Caller.
Great. I love that play. Love that play.
I wonder about holding it to silence through a taunt.
Well, yeah, the problem is now there's 2 taunts. Which is 1 taunt. He figures he still has the ability to grab it,
That's very true, and he has the other copy in his hand.
Yeah.
Hot Air Balloon is not the card you want to see.
Oh, no, it is not. Tolkir is also not really the card you want to see right now.
Okay, so is there any way we can win the game this turn? Because we have both Inner Fire, Heal, and Topsy Turvy available, as well as Silence.
I think silencing this Void Caller was what was going to be the game, because without that, I think you got some heat here. I think you could possibly do it with depending on Inner Fire, Topsy Turvy, and this lesser healing hero power. You could get through if you had 1 less taunt on the field.
Wow, he's so close, because you can heal the Acolyte of Pain all the way up to 6, and then if you Topsy Turvy or Inner Fire that clears with either one of these taunts, and then that leaves you with 3, 4, 5 damage. You're just so close.
Yeah, you hate to see it, you really do. It's just you're so close, you can almost taste it, but just No, that unfortunately, and there's nothing left in the deck for the Acolyte of Pain to draw through. Curious what Talcat's thinking. Oh, it looks like he might just be thinking to hit the old F9 key.
And it's it's one of those things where you definitely have to do your due diligence, right? See if there's any way, because he was a couple of points off.
Yeah, it was a tight one. It's a tight one. So that is 2-1. We are going into game 4 here. Possibly our last game, possibly deciding the finals here, if and only if Apollo can get it together.
And so, yeah, let me just make sure I have all my graphics correct here. I'm going to update those first.
Yep, sounds good.
Warlock has succeeded, and so now Apollo has 2 chances to win with this priest up against the Paladin and Priest of Taklit. And we are jumping right in. These players wasting no time.
Here we go. Here we go, baby.
Oh, and it's going to be the Paladin to start off with for Taklit.
I like the Paladin choice here. I think because right now you just got to get a win in to stay alive. So I think Paladin seems like the strongest matchup, the strongest deck choice right now, just because it can flood the board here and.
Yeah, and it has the possibilities of just executing the, you were talking about. You don't have access to stuff. Like the kind of cards that this priest has access to. He does have 2 copies of Entomb, which you can use to take a big magnetic creature off the board.
I love Entomb. That was one of the most exciting parts of this format to me, was the ability to use Entomb again.
And that's one of those sort of a pseudo silence effect that Apollo has access to, where he's going to be able to, like, if there's one of those gigantic flying machines, for example, he's going to be able to entomb it, but not until turn 6. And the flying machine can potentially get off the ground too fast. And Gobbleglide Tech Shotbot, Shielded Mini-Bot, some pretty good early stuff for a Taklit. Going to be able to activate the Gobbleglide Tech pretty reliably on turn 3.
Sure, but you're not seeing any of your hand buffing mechanics, which is what you really want. Oh, nope, not going to do it. By turn 2, I think being able to buff 4 or 5 creatures is kind of what you really want to make it those your next couple of plays really efficient.
Yeah, missing both Grime Street Outfitters and both Smugglers runs is definitely unfortunate. He does have a single copy also of Blessing of Wisdom, so if he is able to stick a board, he can potentially attach that to something with Wind Fury and draw a bunch of extra cards.
I love Sandhoof Waterbearer. I think that card is so good.
Oh man, then you are going to love that Apollo chose the Sandhoof Waterbearer to represent him.
Already do love that. I love any Torrent at this point. Spellbreaker here I think is also going to be pretty important, just because these mechs love their keywords, and being able to just deny those, pretty important. Also, it's gold.
Oh yeah, a very
I love gold Spellbreaker.
That's right, very broken spells. The Skater Bot is going to provide the 1/1 necessary to go ahead and clear the Radiant Elemental off the board for Apollo.
Yes. And Cogmaster comes into play as an incredibly efficient 1-drop.
And yeah, we're going to see the Penance committed to go ahead and take off the mini-bot. It does also remove a lot of the attack, seemingly for Cogmaster, but there's more mechs where that came from.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing about mech decks is they got mechs.
That's right, it's in the name. There's always mechs in the mech deck.
Yeah, Mech Paladin, I know 2 things about Mech Paladin. I know mechs, I know paladins.
That's right. And so
that's
actually
pretty much where my insight and wisdom stops.
So for this, I was wondering if this was a double Shotbot play or potentially a single Shotbot hero power play. And it looks like it's going to be the more powerful double Shotbot.
I like the double Shotbot play, and I'll tell you why. Because right now, Talcott has the opportunity to really claim the board for his own, while Apollo is still kind of trying to establish what he wants to do. And so, yeah, I think the double Shotbot is pretty solid. Plus, next turn you can equip one of those with your war gear there.
Right, and here he is.
Waterbearer, the big old boy.
The boy himself.
He's got water. He's bearing water.
He sure is. And so
now the question is he important to get rid of, or can you just ignore him?
I think I have to imagine that we're very interested in removing him, and there's a lot of interesting ways to do it. You can either use the war gear or the Gobbleglide Tech in conjunction with your Cogmaster, depending on what you
I like Cogmaster and the non-equipped Shotbot.
Oh yeah.
Because you're gonna get a Shotbot back still, and I don't believe this priest deck is running. Oh, never mind. Shut my mouth. Holy Nova right there.
Wow, and the Spellbreaker you're talking about is gonna go ahead and come down and.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Just saying, hey, that big 5/5 you were gonna play? Well, Pretend you didn't.
Right, we're just gonna go ahead and undo that. I did take 7, but that's where it ends.
Control Z that one for ya.
But you don't get your mana back.
No, you don't get the mana back.
And Hand of a Dog going to provide some much needed deck of velocity for Tacklet and just, I mean,
a little bit of psychic, a little bit more power that he wants. I like the Glotron. I just like hearing you say Gobble Glide, to be honest with you.
Gobbo Glide is really, it's not, he's really just going to play it as a 4/4, not going to utilize the rush at all, and just keep getting value out of his minions. Still
good, and honestly, and when you're fighting this priest deck that that does not have that many creatures, I think that that's a fine play.
Zombie Chow making a second appearance here in the in the finals.
I'm just surprised that we did not see him a lot, because I knew we were going to see some Pilot Shredders, just because that card again is just so much value. But the Zombie Chow, not seeing it.
And this Valence Chosen going on the Zombie Chow is going to power up. I mean, I can't imagine we're going to let this 4/7 survive as Tacklet, just because there's so many different ways that we could potentially be punished. We see 2 of them in hand already with the Apotheosis and the Holy Nova, but then again, if you're the aggro deck, we're getting close.
Or even the Kooky Chemist could make that a 7/4 really quickly, and or even they could make it a 10/6 with the Kooky Chemist. Which is not maybe the most efficient play in the world, but 10 damage to your face is pretty good in any circumstance, really. Not quite as good as the aforementioned 11 to the face or the aforementioned 14 to the face, but still pretty good.
And I'm just looking at Tacklet's hand right now. He has 15 damage. If he goes all face right now, like if he commits the Blessing of Kings and sends it all downtown, that is a huge amount of damage. And I would imagine he's trying to think about, can he get away with that? Because 21 minus 15 is getting dangerously close to 0.
Exactly. Yeah. It's as Apollo, you got to be wondering, what are you going to do about these threats? Are you going to use that Entomb on that? I mean, now you're going to use it on the 8/8, of course, but is that going to be enough for you?
Oh, actually taking the value trade. Okay. I mean, there's, gonna go ahead and get the value. There's a lot of different ways that spell power can really hurt you.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And actually, this is where the Kooky Chemists are going to be playing. If your health is low, dealing with a 4/8 is much easier than dealing with an 8/4. Yeah. If you're not prepared to deal, if you'd rather not take 8 damage to the face, or 16 even if you're not prepared for that.
And it looks like we're going to see the Apotheosis committed. Tacklet, if Tacklet can find a way to buff up his shielded mini-bot, Bronze Gatekeeper does do that, but it doesn't provide enough attack.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, but it looks like Tacklet may just have to live with the reality that Apollo's going to get some healing off this Kooky Chemist.
That's just so much healing. 12 healing?
And actually, wait a minute. Bronze Gatekeeper's going to give the shielded mini-bot taunt. Oh, actually going to give the shot.
No, not shielded mini-bot. I kind of like that better, actually.
I was just thinking about, you can prevent some of the healing, but it looks like we're actually just going to go ahead and trade into the Kooky Chemist. So this way we get to keep a bigger.
That's fine. Yeah. And I mean, you get to set him back down right where he came from. More lifesteal stuff, because again, Apollo just loves life.
Right, Apollo loves
He's
life.
Just one of those shirts you can buy at the airport. Just one of those life is good shirts.
Yeah.
That's his whole thing.
And a Noyotron is not a very high impact draw for Tacklet. I imagine we're going to see it get played. And I think we're going all face with everything at this point.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, everything being just the Goblin here. The Noyotron's not bad. It just becomes bait for the Acolyte of Agony, which I don't like. Especially when you could potentially save it in hand for a something with Magnesis or something.
Actually, it looks like Tacklet is thinking about possibly trading into the Acolyte of Agony, just thinking that he's going to need to be able to build up a second. He's thinking that he's got 17 cards left in his deck, and he's one Blessing of Wisdom draw in conjunction with
even just a hero power Flying Machine.
Yeah.
Flying Machine will definitely do it, but even a hero power of 5/5, we can see Apollo does not really. That would be very awkward for Apollo to deal with without popping his Entomb. Which it seems like he's been saving that for a while for something that's really nasty, which is smart on him, not playing that too early. That's a lot of things you can see is, some people see those big threats, get a little twitchy and say, okay, well, let's go ahead and entomb those, get rid of them. Just, I don't want to deal with it anymore. Or you have the more advanced players or players like Apollo who say, okay, 3/4 is not so bad, or 5/5 not so bad, just because I know Tacklet has the ability to produce even nastier things like with those Flying Machines.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the hallmarks of a really good control player is the patience to realize when you're genuinely under threat and when you're just facing something that looks scary.
Yeah.
And
it does look scary. I mean, I'm very brave, so I'm not scared of it.
That's right.
And you as well, of course.
Of course, indescribably brave.
Indescribably brave. They have not come up with fellas more brave than us, but.
And Tacklet once again stuck into one of these positions where he's thinking about value trading. Apollo has been sitting on this Entomb. You know, obviously Tacklet doesn't know exactly what this card is, but Entomb has been in hand since I want to say turn 3.
I think it might have even been earlier than that. It might have been opening hand.
And so that
but still, it's been in long enough where it could have seen some use at this point. But again, he's looking at the board right now saying, oh, that's a 5-2, and this Paladin's probably not going to be healing it anytime soon. So
Shadow Ascendant going to be the draw, and that's just a really powerful. Blessing of Wisdom.
Blessing of Wisdom. Interesting tech. I mean, you could just play it right now just to clear the 4-5 and then draw a card. That seems okay.
Yeah.
Or do you slap it on one of his guys to just say, hey, you can't attack, or things are going to get tougher for you? Because right now, your only advantage as Apollo, obviously you have the Entomb, but also the fact that Tacklet's aggro deck is not online.
And
or does not have the hand power right now to really push forward.
Yeah, really behind on card economy. And when both decks are behind on card economy, you can see we start to see the relative strength of the the hero powers and the draws. Like Glowtron.
Glowtron is pretty good.
Yeah, and it's going to actually provide a lot of additional health to this Mech Warper. And Shadow
will this be what gets Entombed? Solely because just the card draw is just so nasty and unforgiving right now, and so yep, looks like it's gonna be. I mean, entombing 3 cards is pretty good. That's a lot of value right there.
Right, and Valence Chosen gonna go ahead and come down. Basically a tempo Valence Chosen, and Apollo's gonna be able to use his hero power to keep this alive.
Rolling out the Cogmaster seems interesting without the mech, but.
Yeah, what choice do you have? Like you're saying, it's starting to get to the lean times, the desperate measure
times.
Oh,
Apotheosis just making this Shadow Caller bigger and bigger. That's the Shadow Ascendant beefy lady right there. That's going to be very, very hard for Talcott to deal with.
Flying Machine coming in too late, and the possibility of being able to surmount this 6-9, even both attacks off a True Silver Champion isn't going to be enough. And my friends, we have a winner.
The first Pauper Pop Off winner